Welcome back, you guys, to Film Lovers Guide to the Galaxy. This week, we're going to be talking about sports movies,
In,
especially with baseball starting opening weekend
absolutely.
right
Oh
now.
yeah.
Go Dodgers.
NCAA has their final four, both men's and women's, right now. An NFL draft is coming up soon.
So
NBA
hyped.
hockey down. So I think it's a good time to kind of do that. Now, before we turn this off, let me ask you guys a question. Like, what makes a good sports movie?
I was thinking about this to myself, like on the way home from work the other day. And I think the thing that depends on like makes it a great sports movie is like the quote unquote villain or the team that they're going against. Like for us in the 90s, it was like I hate to say it, but like the foreign team that they were going out,
US versus
like
Russia.
Team Iceland, Russia, like that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I feel that's like changed into like, I don't know, like inner struggle now for a little bit, and then like, like the big bad owner of the team. Like, I don't know, but I think that's what it really depends on is the adversarial nature that they are going up against.
I think my rule of thumb for a good sports movie is if you get a person that doesn't really like not really like but just kind of apathetic about the sport and it keeps them entertained for the length of the movie, it makes for a good movie. If you take someone that says, hey, I don't like baseball or something, and you get her to watch baseball movie and she's like, it wasn't bad, I think that makes for a good movie. Regardless of whatever's going on. So that's usually my rule of thumb for any movie. And whenever I take someone who's not into sports, I'm like, hey, we're gonna watch XYZ, and they're like, okay, and they think it's okay because of whatever the reason might be, makes for a good movie, and that's kind of like my litmus test.
Yeah, sports movies is like, each genre has kind of like their own story beats, and sports movies usually kind of have that. So, as long as whether it's a big game or big something that happens at the end, the goal is to get us to root for you towards the end. And that's usually what most sports movies are. And you complete that, you're pretty much halfway there. Everything else is, if you kind of expand on that. Now, looking at your guys' list before we go through our top 10 and then breaking down and agreeing to a collective five, what sport actually made the most on your list?
Oh, that's a
Oh
good question.
man.
Let's see. I would say combat sports on mine.
um,
That
I mean,
and that
That is,
includes
yeah.
that's true. Mine is right now. If we do combat sports, but if we specify it, I do have boxing more. That's on
yeah,
here.
yeah. Mine
Mine's
also includes like wrestling and
yeah, mine's
boxing.
pretty much a mixed bag. But then if we go by percentage, I guess basketball's still the largest chunk, but not by much. But I have pretty much a little bit of everything, I'd say.
I will say this on my list, which is going to be shocking to everyone.
Ooh,
Football is not on this list. I don't have a football movie on here.
I don't have a football movie either.
I have one football movie. I was going to debate having another. I'm debating having another one on there, but only one football movie made it. What was your guys' number 11? Since we're doing top 10, like what was the
I
one?
have two.
Oh, okay.
Mainly because this one is not a movie. It's Ted Lasso. It's just like a series.
Okay, yeah.
That's just why. My actual number 11 is Shaolin Soccer.
Oh god, see that one almost made my list. It's so
It's just
good.
yeah, it's so random, and I think like it puts elements of like superhero ness into it. It brings in a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
random shit, and it just didn't. Stephen Chow, you're just thinking
Stephen Chow's
out of
so
nowhere.
good.
So I enjoyed it, but I had a hard time sort of ranking it against all the other ones.
I remember my girlfriend in high school showed me that movie for the first time, and I was just watching it going like, what the hell is this? It was like some like bootleg whatever.
Yeah, Chinese film, right?
Yeah, and I was like, I was howling with laughter after that.
Dude, it's great. It's great.
My number 11 is Top Gun because of the volleyball scene. That is where else is volleyball represented in sports movies? I feel it needed its due with that wonderful volleyball scene.
Is there professional volleyball? Like,
Oh
there's
yeah,
Olympic volleyball? But
yeah,
is
for
there
sure. There's
like
professional.
Oh,
in
in
like
a
Europe.
league.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Johnny,
had no idea.
what was the one that almost made your list?
The football one, which is Any Given Sunday, it almost
Uh,
made it
Okay.
on there.
Yeah.
But that's
I
just
think.
I like Al Pacino yelling at people.
Oh
It's
yeah,
always fun.
for sure. I think that movie's really overrated, to be honest.
I mean, it kind of depends. I take it as heightened. What's
Like
that one? What's that one show that was on ESPN? Playmakers. It's a much more heightened version of Playmakers, and Playmakers is already heightened, right? So
it's like Playmakers, but like you injected it with steroids and just give it like the craziest hyper masculinity
I mean, you got to
ever.
make it entertaining, though. Otherwise,
I-
so if you didn't do some of these, it would just be so boring. Is all.
it is. But I completely forgot Aaron Eckhart was in that movie as well.
Oh yeah, so many people are in
so
that
many
movie.
people in that movie. So and then Jamie Foxx got his big break in that movie as well. So I love the soundtrack to that.
Aaron Eckhart is definitely that guy.
Yeah.
I want a future episode of this show will be top 10 that guys in movies.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Like we do every show, we're gonna give out our top 10 individual lists. From there, we will collectively come up with our top 5 and rank them from 5 to 1. Let's start with our number 10 and number 9. Jared, I'll have you go first. What do you have there?
Okay, my number 10 is a documentary that my dad took me to see when I was way too young to see it. It was like this crazy it came out in 99, so I was 13 at the time, and I was way too young to see this. And it's a movie called Beyond the Mat. When I was a big pro wrestling fan as a kid, and I became a real lapsed fan for a really long time, up until like probably 2014. And then I've been a fan. I kind of rekindled my love for the sport of kings. But Beyond the Mat was kind of my introduction to the quote unquote business of pro wrestling. Like, it was gnarly. You had Jake the Snake in there, just and all of his numerous drug issues and just talking about almost killing himself. You had different following wrestling schools and these guys really trying to make it. And you had like the backstage of them like, oh, this is going to be your finish. This is this. And for a kid who didn't think it was quote unquote like real, I didn't think it was real, but it was like oh my God, this is like a thing.
Yeah.
And then you have crazy Vince McMahon going, he's gonna puke.
He's gonna puke. He's gonna puke. He's gonna puke.
I'm just sitting there wide-eyed going, what the fuck is this? And it's just singed into my brain of like, oh man, pro wrestling is wild. Just a bunch of carnies, and it was great.
That movie, the one thing that movie did was reframe how I watched that Rock and Mick Foley fight or match when it comes to the
exactly
chair shots. Like it reframed point. Everything.
And Mick, I mean, you have that guy's family in the front row, and he's taking chair shot after chair shot, unprotected to the dome. And it's like, okay, well, and safe to say Mick Foley is doing good right now. No real signs of CTE, so let's keep it that way. But damn, it was just shocking to see that. But I love that. I recently revisited that movie, and just you watch it now, and you see Vince McMahon just be a complete lunatic, and when he talks about, oh, we make movies, and he just sucks on that water bottle. It's so much gold Vince stuff. I love it. My number 9, I think, has the greatest sports villain in a movie. He's just a despicable prick. And it's Happy Gilmore. Shooter McGavin is such a dick. It's so funny though. Like when he sinks that shot and he goes, "Pow, shooter!" Like it was. I again another movie I saw way too young. When I remember like renting it on one of those like rental services for your satellite dish when I was a kid, and I was just going, "What the fuck?" Like,
Is this not PG-13? Was it PG-13?
I don't.
I don't
PG-13.
remember.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
that or I mean, I don't think it was R because I could be wrong. Was let's
oh, it
Google
was
this.
PG-13. It came out in '96. So I probably watched it when I was like 11, and it was like 11-year-olds shouldn't watch that movie.
Oh, definitely not. No.
But damn, if that movie is not just hilarious, you have Shooter McGavin, like the dream sequence when he just like looks at the camera and does the finger guns. I love that movie. And like just like the non sequiturs, like when he's bringing his grandma to the nursing home and Ben Stiller's the, well, now your fingers hurt. Well, now your back's gonna hurt because you pulled landscaping duty. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, and it's anchored by Shooter McGavin's character because he's just
He's a
such
good villain.
such a
villain.
dick.
Yep, with you on that 100%.
All right, Joe. What about your 10 and 9?
Yeah, again, I just to preface everything, I just do this based on how well I enjoyed it. That's it. That's about as well as I can do it. Number 10 is Dodgeball. I had a little qualms putting this on my list just because I thought it was kind of fringe on whether or not it's considered a sport. Not the sport of dodgeball,
Oh
just
yeah,
the
it's
fact
a
that the
sport.
movie's basically like a satire. Because if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball.
Yes, you
I
can.
thought it was funny. I liked it. That's really the whole point, and I can't really go deeper into that other than the fact I enjoyed it. The second movie is an older movie. It's called White Men Can't Jump.
Do you ever shut up? Do you ever shut the fuck up? What the fuck are you worried about? I'm in the zone, man.
Was on the fence on how low this is because I thought it'd be a little higher, but I kind of looked at everything else and kind of try to evaluate whether or not. Again, big fan. I liked it. It's a very old movie. I think it's a '90s movie. A lot of these movies, by the way, I didn't really watch when it came out. I kind of watched it when I just happened to, discover it, sort of thing. So I definitely watched this in high school, and I think it came out before then. But just no, I really liked it. I like the concept. It's more obviously more serious movie than Dodgeball.
Yeah.
But I always remembered it. So that's all I got. That's my number 9.
Man, Dodgeball. Do you remember the Lance Armstrong cameo in that? I will look back on that and it's like
Wait, what?
Yeah, at the end when he's sitting at the airport bar and he's like,
that's right.
It's like pre Lance
Armstrong before he got shit on.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's legitimately a sociopath. If you watch that documentary, Johnny, did you watch that documentary?
Yeah.
Wait, why is he a psychopath?
He has zero remorse for what he did. He almost justifies everything he does with but it's like,
okay.
It's highly recommend watching it because you're just like, whoa.
I always thought it was the weirdest thing that he admitted to everything after his career was said and done, right? Like,
he got popped for it. It's like, I think somebody did somebody blow the whistle on him, or?
But it was one of those he got called out for it, but he never got officially convicted, right? It's one of those.
Correct.
It's impossible to prove.
I'm not 100%. But damn, if that wasn't just like watching that documentary, I was like, whoa.
I gotta figure out who the PR guy. Now, I'm saying doping in a competition is bad. Okay, just for a baseline here. Just from a PR standpoint, I gotta find the PR person that says, you know what, you gotta go on Oprah. You gotta admit that you cheated. I'm like, why? If I were you, I would just lay low. You finish your career and just chill. But I don't know. I'm sure he's still doing fine. I don't know. So that's unless he missed the limelight, I guess. So that's all I got.
He does a little bit. So I'll go. So number 10. I've talked about this movie a couple times, but Shake and Bake, baby. It's Talladega Nights. So
thank you for my best friend and teammate Cal Naughton Jr., who's got my back no matter what.
Shake and Bake.
Okay.
I mean, I absolutely love the movie, and it does take a lot of this. Like I said, when it comes to like the genre in sports, it does do a lot of the tropes. In terms of falling down, coming back, rising. If you ain't first, you're last. I just love the camaraderie between both Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly that's in there. The The two funny speeches are from Amy Adams, which I think is actually pretty funny. When in hindsight, I'm like, oh, this Oscar winner is like, giving this thing in a silly movie. But the using the whole NASCAR landscape, I thought was really good. So I have it at number 10. Number 9, another movie I think I've talked about before, is The Way Back with Ben Affleck. This is the only basketball movie I actually have
Good
on
move.
this list.
Interesting, Johnny. I thought basketball would be all over your list.
To me, this is by far the best depiction of basketball you will see on screen. Like, it really does feel like people actually know what they're doing when basketball. They don't sugarcoat it. In terms of high school basketball, I think it's pretty funny when I was watching it that, like, this guy, Ben Affleck, is like ripping these kids, right? And you're thinking to yourself, okay, he just ripped into these kids. They're going to come back and win. No, they lost by 40. I think that's like some realistic stuff that you would see in high school basketball when you have a team that is not good or not together. And there's things that kind of turn around, and it feels very natural to do it as well. So to me, this is the one that gets the mark. Now, there's a lot of great basketball movies out there. I just, in terms of the other movies within the sports genre, this is the one that I would rate it the highest.
I'm really surprised you didn't put Coach Carter on there.
John, my other co-host on our basketball podcast, loves that movie.
Wow.
I'm just not the biggest fan of it. So
for sure,
me and him have different views on what Coach Carter is.
I need to, for sure, I get you on that. I need to watch The Way Back. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, man, you don't have to watch Ben Affleck as Batman anymore. You can move over to that HBO Max and just click on The Way Back now. All right, Joe. So we're going to go 8 and 7. Who do you have at 8?
Okay, so number 8 for me is I, Tonya. It's more of a sad. It's supposed to be a comedy. I don't really see it as a comedy. I think it's a little bit more serious than that. Obviously, based on real life events.
Absolutely.
And I guess spoilers is not a thing, right? People listening obviously are gonna. It's not, again. It just has a sort of sad ending, honestly. And, I think that it kept me sort of engaged just because, like, I guess I don't know how accurate it is relative to the actual event. And I actually had to look up what happened actually, and I guess it did an okay job. But I really like Margot Robbie's acting here.
Your Honor, I don't have an education. All I know is skating. That's all I know.
I think that this is the first time I saw her doing like a leading serious role, to my knowledge, and again, it's when you look at it, it's a figure skating movie, right? So you got to do a pretty good job to do a figure skating movie, And I think that, no disrespect to figure skaters, because I think that all of these sports, anytime you do competition sports, it's incredibly hard.
Here comes the disrespect.
It is incredibly boring, right? So that's the thing, right? So here's the thing, right? So just, if your sport is only highlighted every 4 years at the Olympics, because I think everyone watches the Olympics, everyone watches figure skating at the Olympics, and I understand there's probably a bunch of events for figure skating, etc. Now, for example, for me, I like weightlifting. Well, weightlifting's hella boring.
Yeah.
And it's only highlighted during the Olympics. And I will admit that. I have no problems with that whatsoever, because there's events every year. But figure skating, because the unique thing about figure skating is that it's highly subjective, I think. Like, yes, if you fall, you lose points. But
you see it in the 70s and 80s when Russia was like, all the Eastern Bloc countries were like, oh no, we got to adapt to Russia, and then all of us were like, so you're right, like that interplay is really interesting. I found I, Tonya, like you, people were like, oh, it's a comedy. It's like, fuck, this isn't a comedy, guys. Like,
yeah, I don't know who was the one that categorized it as a comedy.
I loved the movie.
Great movie.
Wasn't it weird that, like, it was like during this whole like Tonya Harding
trial, or was it the trial?
Well, it was like this they like tried to rehab her image almost, and she was at award shows and people were like, no, it wasn't. No, she, like,
I don't know. I
felt bad. what happened to her was absolutely terrible because, you know, she had an abusive partner and all of that, but like everything that went down was awful. Like it was just and Margot Robbie was absolutely fantastic in that movie.
I'm always curious to know how much money the actual people like Tonya Harding got paid
Mm-hmm.
for, depiction of her, or maybe even Nancy Kerrigan getting paid. Regardless, that's my number. I don't want to dwell too much on it, but it's a good movie. So
Totally.
again, good movie because I
Great
enjoyed a
pull.
movie about a sport that I don't really care about. Number 7. Again, I was kind of on the fence on how low this is. It's Rocky. It's a classic. I think everyone that watches or listens to this podcast probably knows what Rocky is. And fun fact, not really fun fact, it's kind of boring. I visited the actual steps a couple years ago when I was driving down from New York,
Nice.
and it's quite interesting. Like they actually have a plaque there where the feet is. If those feet are accurate, Sylvester Stallone has pretty small feet, I gotta say. And next to the thing, they have a little statue that you can take a picture with. Again, the view is awesome though in Philly. I liked it. It's a classic, coming back from, when you're down sort of thing, and not throwing in the towel and all that sort of thing. So I think when people think of trying to fight against, adversity and winning, it's a movie that you always go back to. And because it's a classic, because I enjoyed it, I like Sylvester Stallone. That's my number 7.
I have a feeling that won't be the last Rocky movie we'll see on our list.
Oh, look at that.
All right, Jared, what about yours? 8 and 7.
8 and 7. Number 8, kind of going along my line of fantastic movie villains and sports movies, is Mighty Ducks 2. God, when we were kids, like, man, that movie came out and it was like a staple of at least my childhood. Like it had all like the total rah-rah Team USA stuff.
But why 2?
Flying V, baby.
Yeah, because 2, I think it really had the better villain. Like the first movie, I didn't really connect with. Maybe I was too young when I saw it or whatever. But I loved 2 for 1, Iceland. 2, Emilio Estevez's character, like trying to like model himself after like the Pat Riley kind of Iceland kind of look with that slick back hair, and then him coming back, and then they debuted their new uniforms. Man, that movie is awesome. Like, and it had a little Kenan Thompson in it. You had all of these cool elements to it, and I just really liked it. Like it's really more of a nostalgia factor for me. It was the rainy day movie when I was in elementary school, or we would always put it on, and I think, oh man, my favorite scene is when he's playing one-on-one with the Iceland coach, and the Iceland coach goes after his knee and shit. Oh man, so brutal and so just would kill those guys.
Long ago too.
And it also taught me a valuable lesson about
wearing
geography.
Oh.
Iceland is green, but
Greenland
has a bunch of ice.
Yep.
Boom.
I didn't know that he was married to Paula Abdul.
Who?
Emilio Estevez.
What?
Yeah.
When was this?
For like 2 years back in like the early 90s. I don't know why and how that happened.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That's the only time he's ever been married.
I guess you shoot high. I mean, she was a dime back in the early 90s, so.
She still is very attractive.
Bingo.
And my number 7 movie is another hockey movie, and it's Goon. This is a sports movie that I don't really have to be in the mood for. It can just be on in the middle of the day, or I'll be flipping through Netflix or another streaming service, and I absolutely love it. It's my favorite Sean William Scott performance outside of Old School with you got a fucking dart in your neck, man. I think Goon is really fun. It's super brutal. Liev Schreiber puts in an amazing performance. I mean, it is the most hockey movie, and I I wouldn't say I love hockey. I really like it and respect it and go watch games live and stuff like that. But damn, if this movie doesn't just pump me up to being like, damn, I should have been a hockey player. Like, the performances across the board are on point, perfect. And it's just, I have a lot of fun watching it every time I see it, and it just never gets old.
Yeah, I totally enjoyed Liev Schreiber in that movie.
Right?
So
I feel he needs to get more work. Like, the dude knocks it out of the park every time he's in something.
he's too busy being Ray Donovan. So he's
Thank
too
you
busy
for-
fixing stuff.
Speaking of sports, that was a good bump set spike on that. I was hoping you'd bring up Ray Donovan.
At number 8, to represent the Ocho, I have Dodgeball.
5 Ds of dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
I love this movie. This movie is really good, like Joe was talking about
the
earlier.
Ocho.
I mean, it's like, the 5 Ds of Dodgeball, right? Dodge,
Good
duck, dip,
shit.
dive, and dodge. And the cast is so well, like, rounded out. Like, Ben Stiller, when you're talking about villains, Ben Stiller is a really good villain in Dodgeball. Like, you genuinely, like, I'm like, man, I really hate this guy. He's pretty funny, but I like hate him. Vince Vaughn plays normal everyday really well, and then just the cast around him: Alan Tudyk, Rip Torn, Justin Long. Like those guys are really funny all together. So I have that at number 8. At number 7, I do have 2008's biopic Ali that stars Will Smith.
Interesting.
I genuinely, like, it was a toss up between that and When We Were Kings. And as much
Yeah.
as When We Were Kings it's a great documentary, sometimes I just want a story kind of being told and taking place. And I like that it was a specific set of time when he won his belt until he went to Rumble in the Jungle. Didn't really deal with how he was brought up, things like that. Michael Mann started using digital filming during this time, and I thought that actual look made it feel really authentic.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Will Smith bulking up to play Ali and then being able to, he didn't really mimic the performance. He really just kind of lived through him, and I thought that was really cool. But like I said, when it comes to these sports movies, there's always a pattern, like, where he gets down and then we lead up to Rumble in the Jungle, and I was all like, okay, that's cool. Even though, if you've watched boxing before, you do know about rope-a-dope, but if you didn't, then you're kind of like being really immersed towards the end of, like, what is this guy doing? Like, he's just eating punches from George Foreman, right? And I thought that was just a great movie and certainly belongs on my list.
Good pick.
That's a great pick. I think when you watch When We Were Kings, it's very much a documentary of its time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very that era of sports documentary of beginning, middle, and then, like, just, I feel with the advent of, like, 30 for 30 and all of that stuff, you have these filmmakers making really interesting sports documentaries in non-traditional ways. And it's not to say When We Were Kings is bad, but it definitely shows its age when you go back and watch it. It's very, oh, okay, yeah, I know what it's doing. I know what to expect.
Yeah, I like I said, I like that documentary a lot, but I'd rather just watch a biopic of it for the most part, and
absolutely,
and then have that as a compliment rather than be the star. So now we'll go on to number 6 and number 5. Jared, who do we have there on your list?
Number 6 is A League of Their Own. Not the last baseball movie I'll put on here. And this, man, I needed to put this movie on because it's so good. It's just, we talk about, like, oh yeah, like, this movie's good, but this one is just solid from beginning to end. You have Tom Hanks absolutely killing it in his role as this washed up drunk of a coach. Mm-hmm. You have Gina Davis, like, this is my favorite role she's been in. I mean, I absolutely adore her in this movie. This is another one of those movies where I could watch every week and not hate and not grow tired of it. It's, it's really heartfelt. You gosh, there's just some heartbreaking scenes in it. Like when she finds out her husband died, to just the whole inner team turmoil with the sisters. And I just love this movie so much. It's, man, it's definitely a top 3 Hanks performance for me. Absolutely. And like Penny Marshall really showed the camaraderie with these women, like on a bus. And I remember playing sports in college and feeling that, and they were traveling on the bus, and how you would just mess around, you'd read, you'd just create songs. The guy had his ukulele in the back, and I really felt that. And she captured that really well between the women. And I just absolutely adore that movie. My number 5 is possibly the most like pumped up. Like the first, I want to say half of the movie is fine, but the last quarter of the movie is an absolute breakneck, amazing, hell yeah. And I'm not even the most like rah American guy, and this will come up later again, but Rocky IV. This is basically montage the movie, and I'm not mad at it, because when he's driving after Apollo dies and he's driving his sports car and it's zooming in on his eyes, you're just like, oh man, Rocky, you got to come back. You got to do it. And then he decides to, and then he's training in Russia, and it's flashing back and forth between Drago doing his like technical stuff and then Rocky running in the snow. And just like, it's hilarious that Rocky beat communism basically in the end.
Right.
But damn, the ending speech of that movie when he's just beat up in the ring. Oh my God. I defy you to be more like, find a sports movie that gets you more pumped up.
If I can change and you can change, everybody can change.
For the time it was set, I know somebody who plays that speech at the end of every party that to close the night out. And it's a perfect to like, we watch the fight, the speech happens, and it's like, all right, let's go home. Time to end the night. Can't get better than that.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens, because I know Sylvester Stallone's working on a director's cut of Rocky IV, which
get the fuck out of here.
Like
no way.
Like 4 hours long.
Of course, of montages. So I'm very excited to kind of see what he's going to do with that movie. So I'll go next. At number 6, I actually have Ford versus Ferrari. I know it's a newer one that just came out.
Good pick.
But I absolutely, the only reason why I knew who Shelby was is because of his car, right? I didn't know who the actual person is. And so having this kind of explanation of like the race and who Ken Miles is, and just, James Mangold, who, depending on if you like his movies or not, I love it because it has a very old Western type of feel when he does movies, a la, he also directed Logan. When he does these type of movies, like I get really into it, and especially at the race at the end. And it's crazy because I knew nothing about what happened, and this is based off a true story. I could have Googled it and, would have been like known what's going to happen. But the fact that I didn't, and the ending happens where it is a virtual tie to represent the team, and you realize it wasn't because they're giving it to someone else. Like that stuff actually like really boiled my blood. I was watching. It's like, damn, it really got good. You, huh? Yeah. So, and with both Matt Damon and Christian Bale playing off each other, it's a really fantastic movie. So I do have that as my number 6 film. Number 5 is the only baseball movie that I have on here. It's Moneyball.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this movie.
Absolutely.
Right? Moneyball, that just, the explanation of what Billy Beane did during this era for the A's, and kind of breaking it down. It's funny because I didn't think Brad Pitt was going to be really all that well into it, but he just moves through that movie really well, making us understand what they're trying to do in terms of simple concepts.
Problem we're trying to solve is that there are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us.
Jonah Hill was really good as well. This is the first time anyone took him seriously as an actor, not just a comedian as well. And then you got Philip Seymour Hoffman just huffing and puffing, but he's so good at doing it that it's
He's
just fun to
good
watch.
at being that guy.
Yeah.
The story was perfect. Brad Pitt plays an amazing Billy Bean, and like you said, Johnny, it takes you along so well, and why you should care as the audience, because honestly, this book is about fucking economics and baseball. Why? Like, you hear Moneyball as a pejorative nowadays, and
Maury
stats
Ball.
and this and that,
Yep.
but they were able to take that concept and make it into a movie you want to fucking watch.
Exactly.
They humanized economics and baseball. You will never find somebody, how could you not be romantic about baseball is the cliche line. And it's true in this movie. They took economic theory and its application to baseball and made it absolutely riveting.
And you want to know why? Because the screenplay is top notch. It's written by two guys. One is Steven Zalian, who did the last movie he did was The Irishman, but the second one, it's Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah,
This is the reason
totally.
why Aaron Sorkin knows how to break down things and make you interested in it, and he does this really well with it. So that's what I have at number 5.
Yeah, I just want to make one more point about Ford versus Ferrari.
Mhm.
I caught that on demand. I didn't really, my grandfather was one of the original workers for Ford. He designed vehicles for him, and so I was like, yeah, I'll turn it on. The thing that stuck out to me most about that movie is the way they filmed the races. It was engaging. It was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And you were really invested in those cars. And that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm watching, I got into F1 racing because of the Netflix documentary Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Who the fuck thought I would care about 20 European dudes racing basically fighter jets on the ground? Like, it's amazing. And that movie had amazing cinematography and filming to it.
My number 6. I'm a little worried that I'm gonna be just kind of reiterating. I'm not gonna spend too much time on my 6 and 5 just because it's been repeated. Number 6 is Coach Carter for me.
Teachers ain't supposed to touch students.
I'm not a teacher. I'm the new basketball coach.
Same feel from what you guys said. I agree for the most part. I don't really have any complaints. Number 5 is Goon. I watched this movie at Jeff's house, at my buddy Jeff's house, and it was weird because I was thinking, oh, it's a hockey movie, I'm thinking it's like a classic hockey movie, but no, it's about an enforcer. If you guys don't know what an enforcer is, this guy who just fights a bunch of people. I thought the fact that it sort of focused on that and that weird aspect of hockey that's a kind of an unspoken rule is kind of interesting. So in that sense, very interesting. Both these films kept me sort of engaged the whole time, and that's why it's my number 5 and 6. And I'll keep it sweet and short, and that's all I got.
What we'll do now is we're gonna go 4, 3, 2, 1 each individually. So at number 4, who do you have, Joe?
Oh man! So every movie on my top 4 is hugely something I enjoy. Number 4 is The Wrestler. I did not expect. First of all, I just want to say that unfortunately, I'm not the biggest fan of wrestling.
It's fine.
But
is it?
Here's the thing.
There's always time for you to get into it. The showcase of the Immortals is coming up, so
The point I'm making here is that they took something that maybe I didn't necessarily enjoy and made it into a movie that I did enjoy, which really says a lot about the people who made the film. And I knew that there was always going to be some stuff in the background where it's kind of gritty, it's kind of out there, and they do some crazy ass shit. And Mickey Rourke's always like a interesting guy. But again, it just kept me really, really engaged. And I can say for the people who are like me, who maybe aren't as into wrestling, that got turned off by this movie because it's based on wrestling, I enjoyed it, and I think you'll enjoy it as well. So that's why it's my number 4.
My number 4 is also The Wrestler.
Oh, look at that.
So this is the movie that kind of got Darren Aronofsky kind of back on the scene. It's a movie about obsession. It was supposed to be kind of the companion piece to Black Swan.
Really?
Kind of,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah, kind of both mirroring both levels of performance art. Kind of like the lowly, we view pro wrestling
low end
as kind of, of like the low rent redneck, what it is in the bingo halls and that kind of stuff, to Black Swan, which is beautiful ballet and highly respected. And both films are about obsession and how cancerous it can be to be obsessed with one thing. You have you have the amazing casting of, oh my god, what Mickey Rourke as Randy the Ram. And I was watching it, and it was so good, like seeing like, okay, how are we going to lay the match out? Okay, we're going to do this. And in those like dirty bingo halls that he was performing in, and just kind of doing it for a hot dog and a handshake. And man, that movie is so good, and it's so depressing. Marissa Tomei is
so depressing. You're right. Yeah, it is.
Marissa Tomei is a little bit tokenistic in places, like, oh yeah, she's a stripper with a heart of gold, kind of bullshit. But
mega hot though, still. God dang.
But it was really good. It was, you see him trying to connect with his daughter, and then he just self-sabotages. You see Randy, and I loved the ambiguous ending when he's going off the top rope, and a lot of people didn't, but I mean, it was great. It showed Aronofsky at his best with people with obsessions. I think it's more depressing than Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream is about drugs. It's about all
psychotic. Yeah, okay.
pitfalls and everything like that. Black Swan, and even more with The Wrestler, is about being obsessed with this one thing, and painted a real picture of these washed up wrestlers, going against their best self-interest because they love what they do. That's the only thing he's done, and he dies because of it. It's amazing.
Agree. 100% agree. Clearly, of course.
At number 4, I have Darren Aronofsky's best film. It is The Wrestler.
Boom.
Oh my god!
The first time we actually got something correct together at a certain spot. Like what you guys said just kind of hit on the head. I absolutely love this movie. People that hate the ending are people that always want finality to something, when you should be
great call
accepting that the finality was what the character accepted. He knew what he was doing when he got in there, because he was there for the love and obsession that he has with the sport. I'm pretty sure if we were to fast forward 5 minutes after he landed that drop, he had a heart attack and died. It's pretty set up.
100%.
It's the thing of like, okay, you see that and it's sad. What else do you have?
The ending is actually kind of, if you think about it, it's a lot cleaner. It's his happy ending, even though realistically it isn't, right? But you kind of accept that.
Yeah.
Same thing if you were.
Great point, Johnny.
It's the same thing if, we're thinking about Inception, like with the totem spinning. It doesn't really matter. Leonardo DiCaprio is glad he's got to see his kids. To me, that's where the happiness is with the character, not so much that. One of the small scenes in that movie make it really work. Him going through the store and just buying stuff, so then let's kind of hit it with their head with the foil pan, things like that. They're planning their match as they're shopping, and they're trying to keep it under budget and cheap as well, which I thought those are little small things that make that movie stand out.
And the way that he blades himself in the middle of the ring, and him bringing along these younger wrestlers, and giving them advice and really working the match with them. And man, I've been in those dirty ass bingo halls. I used to go to a pro wrestling PWG when it was in Reseda, California. It was at an American Legion hall with no air conditioning. There were maybe 300 people in the audience, which was definitely against fire code, but it's some of the best memories I have. It was so fun, and this captured that so well.
So we'll move on to number 3. I'll kick this one off. I have Rocky, the first one.
Okay.
I absolutely love this movie, just because of, from where he started to move his way up. Love the training montage. The soundtrack is really good. The Rocky theme everyone knows, that kind of goes through it. I love Mickey.
You want to know? I want to know! Okay, I'm going to tell you.
I mean, he's one of the best, if not the best trainer you'll see on here. I just have an affinity for this movie. It's a movie that kicked off this Rocky universe because there's so many sequels that come along with it. Shockingly enough, it is not the best one that I have, because there is another one that I have that's on this list.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think this is a very good one that's here. So I have that at number 3. Joe, who do you have at number 3?
My top 3 are I don't think a lot of you guys are gonna have is Happy Gilmore. I don't know. I just liked it. I don't have much to explain about it. I just liked it. I like you guys said previously. Good villain. Adam Sandler is funny in it. I enjoy golf movies. I'm sorry, that's all I gotta say about the movie.
What's another golf movie you like, Joe?
I have it on my list, so I'll wait. But I will.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There
Interesting.
You go. There you go. So there you go. That's all I got for Happy Gilmore, and you'll hear more from me later.
All right. And Jared, what do you have at number 3?
Number 3. I mentioned earlier that I wasn't like the biggest like rah-rah like America. Like I'm patriotic. I would say I'm patriotic, but not like I don't seek it out. But damn it, if Miracle is not the fucking just gets me every time. Kurt Russell absolutely slays that performance.
I'm sick and tired of hearing about what a great hockey team the Soviets have. Screw them. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
The story of these underdog college kids going against the juggernaut professional Russians is so great. The way it was filmed on ice, and I saw a making of once, and they described how they filmed the actual, I was going to say action scenes, but like the motion and then the playing and all that stuff. I love that movie. My brother and I still quote it to this day. Like it is one of my favorite sports movies. Absolutely. And it's just a great movie. It's a little long upon rewatch, but the movie is really anchored by Kurt Russell and his outstanding performance of their coach. And I will always cry at the end of that movie, especially when it comes on that their coach never got to see it because he died before the screening. Fucking kills me every time. I love Miracle.
Now we go on to number 2. I'll have you start off, Jared. What do you have at number 2?
Oh man. So this one, it's a baseball movie, and it's possibly the funniest baseball movie ever. And it's Major League. Man, if Major League just isn't the best. I try to watch it every opening day. I haven't watched it today. I've just been way too busy. But damn, Charlie Sheen killing it. Just it really gets how many just weird people you can have on a sports team. Like from whatever sports, the people who out there who've played sports, who've listened to this, you just have just this collection of just weird dudes, especially if you're playing at like higher levels and stuff like that. You're just alone with these guys and they're just maniacs. Bob Uecker is the funniest on commentary in this movie. Man, there are so many scenes that I could name off right now, and that's just not an interesting podcast. But damn, if this movie never fails to make me laugh, it is always it's another one of those movies where it'll be on TBS in the middle of a Saturday, and I'll be like, "Yep, I know what I'm doing for the next 45 to hour and a half." I don't know, like it's my favorite baseball movie, absolutely, and number 2 on my list.
All right, Joe, how about you? Who do you have at 2?
So when I was thinking about this movie, I was also okay. So first of all, my number 2 is Moneyball. And again, I feel like a broken record. I agree with what everyone else said. When I was watching Moneyball, I like the fact that it's coming from the opposite side, not from the actual thing. I was sort of thinking of Angels in the Outfield when I was making this list originally. I'm like, man, it's a fun movie to watch, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it aged well. But I mean, it's an interesting idea. That's all I got. But in terms of Moneyball, I liked it. I like Jonah Hill. I like Brad Pitt. I like the anyway. I like the idea with a baseball movie that took it from the business aspect of it,
the management aspect.
Yeah, and also it's based on a true story, obviously, and all sorts of things, and I liked it. Again, sorry, I'm really hoping my number 1 pick isn't repicked by other people, so I don't have to repeat myself a bunch of times. But that's my number 2.
So at number 2, and I think it's a little thread that we kind of have here, is Gavin O'Connor is an excellent sports film director. He did the aforementioned, what Jared talked about, Miracle. He did The Way Back, which I had at number 9. And he also did what I have at number 2, which is Warrior, a UFC movie. It starred Joe Egerton and shoot,
the guy who played Bane, right?
Bane.
Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. God, I don't know why I had a brain fart. And Nick Nolte was in there as well. So I absolutely love this movie. Maybe, I don't know if it's because of the brother relationship. I don't know if it's because of the combat training. I just love that it's two opposites, right? One guy that is like trying to get in tune with his body as he's doing his UFC fights, and this other guy that's just a brute and just destroying people. I absolutely love this movie. This is, if it wasn't for number 1, this would probably move into the number 1 spot as my favorite sports movie of all time. It's just, and especially with me, I like watching like MMA, UFC, but it's not like something I absolutely love. But this kind of made me more interested in it because, you know, the way they talk about it, there's a art to it at times, which I didn't really see it, more or less, but when I was watching this movie, I kind of understand what they're getting at, and so got me to delve deeper a little bit when it comes to MMA. So that's what I have at number 2.
You know, really quick, when I was watching that movie, I disagree with how it ended, in the sense that Joel Edgerton won.
Tom Hardy should have destroyed.
He should have absolutely destroyed the ever living shit out of him.
But that's where the family dynamic happened.
I know, I get it, because he has the wife and blah blah blah, whatever. It's more like, it'd be funny if you know, it climaxed to that point, and then Tom Hardy just boom breaks his face, movie over. But then you know, again,
love his brother again.
Yeah, blah bullshit. This is one of the few times where I'm like, again, I understand it. I get why they do it. I just don't like in a few cents, I don't like it this way. So that's all I got for that one.
I have a feeling our number 1 is going to be all over the place.
Oh yeah,
because I don't think all of us will have the same number 1. So I'll kick it off to you, Joe. What do you have as your best sports movie that you've seen?
All right, so it's Legend of Bagger Vance.
There's a perfect shot out there trying to find each and every one of us. All we got to do is get ourselves out of its way. Let it choose us.
Oh my God, I should have wrote it down. I knew what you were going to say.
I don't. What? Are you fucking serious, Joe?
I look, Jared, I think this is one of the first movies that I remember telling Joe about, and then he watched it, and I remember how much he absolutely loved this movie. But I'm going to let him explain to you why he loves this movie.
For those of you listening, we record this and we can see each other on video chat, and my mouth is just hanging open, going like, "Are you? Wait, what? Magical?
Yeah.
Like,
dude,
I don't know.
You know,
man.
look, I don't know. I like golf movies, man, and you know, it has a good. You know, obviously it has an all-star cast. It has Will Smith. It has Matt Damon. You know, Charlize Theron, and you know, I understand it's not like. First of all, okay, I gotta admit, it's golf. It's not gonna be like mega exciting bullshit like basketball or football or hockey or whatever. And it's not, you know, it's not like, oh, it's never been done before. I don't know if you're thinking I was thinking Caddyshack, but not really. I just, it wasn't that. I'm not that into it. But
I was about to make a tin cup joke from
or
Bob's Burgers.
tin cup or tin cup, I guess.
Tin Cup is a heater. It is a low key heater.
Kevin Costner, I guess. Yeah, I get. I mean, look, I've watched it. Again, I could have populated this whole list with golf movies.
I'm still shocked that you have The Legend of Bagger Vance.
And it's just so, I don't know, like it. I understand this is probably not a popular pick.
No,
but it's
definitely.
my pick.
I can tell you, it's not a popular pick.
Hey, man, all I'm saying is, look,
it's your list.
It's my list,
absolutely,
and it doesn't have to be. Again, the idea is that when we accumulate our top 5, that should be a good list. I get that this probably won't make it. That's fine, and I'm okay with that. I made this list knowing that I wouldn't like it, or it wouldn't make it. But again, I just know I liked it. I like the idea. First of all, I just like Matt Damon. First of all, even though he does all these weird ass movies sometimes, like he does random cameos in a bunch of movies.
Joe, would you say this is your favorite Matt Damon movie?
No,
Thank God.
No, absolutely not. I think I liked him in.
Interstellar, duh.
Well, he wasn't one of those, like he didn't have a head role. What do you call it? A main role in that, right? It was supposed to be it was a surprise role, right?
Yeah, it was a surprise role.
Right. So but again, I sort of liked all the stuff he's done. I'm just a big fan of the way he acts. I gotta say I liked Will Smith. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of him anymore. I don't know. He just seems kind of
Yeah.
I like the Ocean series. Just to give an idea of what I've been into. I like the Bourne series.
Ocean's 11 is such a good movie.
Yeah, again, great movie. I like that. I liked him in Contagion. I liked him in all sorts of things. Again,
totally. Yeah, I'm not denying your love for Mr. Damon.
So all I'm saying is that helped. I like golf. I liked the idea that it's some weird ass Will Smith, some weird ass dude that probably existed in the figment of his mind for people who may or may not have watched this film. But I don't know. I just liked it. Okay, I just liked it. That's it.
So this movie came at a weird time that there were the trope was the quote unquote magical African American or magical black guy. It's on TV Tropes right here.
Okay.
And they were really leaning hard into that, and I just remember watching the movie going like, oh my god, this movie. I respect your.
Hey, you don't have to. I get that it's weird. That's all I got.
I'm just truly shocked
at the number one spot.
That's your number one.
I should have wrote it on our chat, because I was like, when I realized there was still one golf movie left, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know where he's going.
Yep.
It's funny.
Yep.
Just a couple facts that I actually learned now. I didn't realize before. Robert Redford directed this movie.
Yeah,
no idea.
I mean that doesn't.
Isn't that weird?
Mean, again, that's not the reason I like the movie, but I don't really have a necessarily good reason. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I could watch it again. And I don't really watch a lot of movies again a bunch of times. So
hold on. So I'm looking at this movie is just. I'm still on this movie. Damn, this is just so crazy. This is your number one over Rocky.
Look. So again, I enjoyed all of these. See, here's the thing though. So a lot of these movies, they're all crunched together in terms of how much I like them. There's not a lot of separation. I'm not saying Rocky is 8 times worse than this movie.
No. I just
that's all it is.
Absolutely shocked.
Think of it this way: if you had steak every night, would you have a hamburger? That's all I'm saying.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, no.
Just steak every night for you? Just steak all the fucking time?
Give me steak all the time, even though I'm not a big steak guy, but.
Well, whatever you're into.
For sure, yeah.
That being said, the other day I had the worst sushi in my life, but that's another thing. Let's go.
All right, Jared. What is number one on your list?
My number one on my list, it was the first movie I thought of when we were doing this list, and I couldn't decide if it was going to be number 2 or number 1, Major League being really high for me. But my number 1 movie is Creed.
Fuck, every punch I ever thrown has been on my own. Nobody showed me how to do this. I'm ready.
It is absolutely the best Rocky movie. It is absolutely my favorite. Oh man, I don't know. Is it my favorite Ryan Coogler movie? It's either that or Black Panther, because the heart that went into this, the way that the fights were filmed are so dynamic, and I loved it. I mean, they're in the original Rocky movies, they're way more comic booky. It's like like they are pounding on each other. But the no camera cuts of the first fight that he has with Rocky in his corner in this movie is absolutely unreal. And this movie just absolutely kills it, from the score, where it has the little piano motif of the original Rocky movies, to, you know, Sylvester Stallone being that who should have won the Academy Award that year. Like, the fact that he lost was mind-boggling to me. It's a movie that has all of the heart and soul of the first 4 Rocky movies condensed down and really distilled into this character, and I love it. I love the way it's filmed. I love the way it's acted. Michael B. Jordan is fantastic in this movie. The way that they modernize the running, and with all the dirt, with all the motorcycles and everything like that, they made that movie so good. It's so, I don't know if fun's the right word, but I just love it. I love it so much. I love the Rocky movies, but damn, this is my favorite quote unquote Rocky movie. It's just, it is the first one not written by Stallone. I heard Ryan Coogler talk about how he wrote this movie, I think or really wanted to do this movie for his dad, because he and his dad used to were really bonding over the Rocky movies. And just, man, Creed is so good. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm with you on that. I think they did a great job. I think like the cinematography was good. Michael B. Jordan was good. I think they did a good iteration of what it's supposed to be.
I've loved Michael B. Jordan. I've loved Michael B. Jordan since The Wire and Friday Night Lights and all that stuff. But this is where I think he really, Fruitvale Station, him and Ryan Coogler have worked together a few times. I think, to me, in this role is where he really came into the picture for me and stepped it up. Not stepped it up, but stepped it up is the wrong word. But really, in my mind, I was like, oh shit, this is Wallace. This is Vince from all these other things. And then he went on to do Black Panther. Unreal. I just love Creed.
Good shit.
I sent you guys a GroupMe message, a picture. You want to tell me what that first movie is on there?
Oh, baby. Give me that Creed, baby.
This is by far the best sports movie that's out there. It's Creed. Jared took the words out of my mouth. Ryan Coogler understood this universe, condensed it down, and expanded onto it. The best thing this movie did was give me Rocky Balboa in doses and not him be the main storyline. And this is what makes it. This is how you build something, or you're trying to spin off something into a different universe, right? Rocky can't just keep fighting anymore. Like, there's no way, right? Michael B. Jordan is great. You talk about that one-shot take the first time around. That was really fantastic, like cinematography and the directing of it as they were going through. I love that Tessa Thompson is just I like Talia Shire, like I really do, but there's a certain, people say it's a strong character. I don't know. I think it's more a little toned down, unless it's just her and Rocky alone. Here, she looks at herself as an equal compared to Adonis, and that what pushes kind of like the movie on top of that. The crescendo that comes into it, right? This is one of the first movies when both my wife and I really started going together. Yeah, we went on dates, things like that, but this is the first movie we saw as a couple, and she saw the look of my face when I was watching this movie, and she knew how happy I was watching this movie. Like, there's a joy to this movie that
Absolutely,
I watch,
Johnny.
knowing full well that he's gonna lose at the end, but you don't think about it, right? Because that's what makes a great sports movie, is because the minute you stop thinking about it and you're rooting for what's happening on screen, they already got you, and he got me so well.
I think it would be worse if he won. I think it would be much worse if he won. Just the way it played to its audience's nostalgia. I already brought up the film score of the piano motifs and everything, but the way that they incorporated and paid homage, it could have been so tacky and so saccharine and just been like, oh, okay, Rocky, we know this. But it, like you said, it used Sylvester Stallone so perfectly by not making him the focus and having Adonis be there and being that surrogate son for Rocky. Man, it just, I'm gonna fucking go watch it right now. God damn.
No, it is so good. And I think one of the best things about it is because with Rocky, to me, it's about him trying to get people to understand that he belongs within this world. With Adonis, it's him trying to prove himself that he shouldn't be living off just his name, that he, is trying to carve something else. And I love that it's like two sides of a different coin, and that it works. Ryan Coogler, like, this is his best movie. Look, I love Black Panther. I love Fruitvale Station. This is his best movie.
Absolutely, it is.
To date. Like, he did something. This is, I guess, in terms of, in the 2010s and even now, right, when people are like rebooting stuff off of nostalgia for us as people watching old properties or products right now, they sometimes they don't do it right. And he did it right with this one. He paid homage, like we talked about, but expanded to be able to tell a story that doesn't necessarily need Rocky to be there. We'll see how Creed 3 goes.
The most interesting parts of the movie were with just him and no Rocky. Rocky didn't need to be involved. And that's the most remarkable part of this movie is when you first hear, oh, Creed, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, like, I'll trip, I've seen every Rocky movie and liked them to varying degrees, so I'm familiar with how a bad Rocky movie can be. But this blew me away.
5.
Oh yeah, 5 basically didn't even happen. But I just think, man, I just, the scene that stands out to me is when he's running and those motorcycles are coming up from behind him and that he's training.
I absolutely love that scene, because you know what, the build up before didn't register that he was doing a training montage until like
totally
it crescendoed up to there, right? Because it was like, oh, we're gonna help him through chemo, and then he's all like, all right, let's try now. I'm all like, what? And then he starts doing it. Then my head started getting like, oh
and then
my
the
god,
score picks up, and the
Yeah.
music comes in, and it's just in the hands of any other director that you could tell Ryan Coogler loves this series and really loved the Rocky movies, and it shows in the final product because he had a connection with it and really made it his own while being it a part of the series.
Yeah, I don't want to butcher this guy's name, but the guy that did the score for Creed and Creed 2 is Ludwig Göransson. He's much popular now because the last film he did was Tenet, but he's done movies like Black Panther. Like, they're starting to get it. So however you feel, like, this is where he kind of like really went big. And I cannot agree with you more, Jared. I'm so glad that this is going to be number one on our
Oh yeah, buddy.
like we place this at number one
with a bullet.
I also think that, as we're looking at our list right now, we have the wrestler all agreed at 4, but
Man, it's the first time
to
that
varying
happened.
degrees, I'm pretty sure we can keep it at 4, but I'm thinking we probably bump it all the way to 2 because this is the one movie that we genuinely all agree upon.
Yeah, I would say 2.
I'm with that.
Okay. So that comes with 3 other movies that we can put it in on varying degrees. So we have Rocky on varying degrees of how we agree where it's at.
I think Rocky 4 should be on there.
Not original Rocky?
No, I think that movie's too slow. I think that movie takes way too long to get where it's going. For its time, it was amazing. I mean, it was nominated for all those awards. I just think Rocky 4 is the pure distillation of that Rocky franchise. It's like straight into my veins, Rocky against communism.
Did all of us have Moneyball on our list?
So I think
I did not have Moneyball, but I can get it. I can.
We can fudge Moneyball in there.
Yeah, I think at number 5, I think it would be.
And what about we had Goon together? Me and Jared, I think
you did. That unfortunately wasn't on my. It was a good movie. I don't know.
I don't think it goes because it's number 7 on mine. I don't think it belongs.
It's number 5 on mine. Yeah.
What do we think about? I think Major League. No, not Major League.
Legend of Bagger Vance.
No. I'm thinking.
Just a quick fact. I just looked at this up. So Legend of Bagger Vance came out in the year 2000. This movie cost $80 million to make in the year 2000.
You know what it is? You got to pay Will Smith. You got to pay Matt Damon. I'm pretty sure that's the reason.
You're not going to like my second fact. It only made $39.5 million.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man.
Didn't even make half of its budget back before marketing.
First of all, you have to understand, it's okay, I'm going to shit on my own movie. It's a fucking golf movie, guys. You don't expect it to do well. It's a fucking golf movie. There's a reason they don't really make...
Oh, man. Happy Gilmore did pretty good, I think.
Yeah, because Adam Sandler has whole goddamn crew's in the movie. They don't watch it because it's golf. They watch it because it's Adam Sandler's crew. That's what it is.
Okay, so what do you think? So we have, I think we have Moneyball at 5.
We have Wrestler at 2.
Wrestler at 2.
We bumped Wrestler all the way up, so yes.
Rocky 4.
Well, it depends, because I think both me and Joe had Rocky, but
I'm cool with any Rocky, honestly. I enjoy them fairly equally.
I'm okay with changing to Rocky 4, simple on the fact that Creed is a better version of Rocky.
Yeah, okay.
It really is. Rocky 4, though, is the best Rocky movie because of how insane that movie is. I do agree with you on that.
He fights communism, and he wins.
He does win. Okay, so
that'd be number 4.
No, I think that's number 3. I think Rocky 4 is number 3.
Okay.
Let's get the last movie in, and then we'll see where we can get this.
Okay.
So really, it just depends on if
Goon. That's the next thing up that the two people agreed on.
So
I'm just saying because we agreed on it.
Creed, the rest.
If you guys,
I mean, Coach Carter's on mine.
I don't mind putting Goon on there, but if we do put Goon, it has to be at 5. It just can't be.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but also like, damn, is that really?
But see, let me make an argument. I know you guys have Goon on there. I really do think Warrior should be on there. Like, I don't know. Have you seen that movie?
It would be very combat sports heavy for us to put.
It would be. So,
is there a rule where saying if only one person has it on their list, there's no way it can make a top 5?
No, I think you. No. I absolutely.
This is when you convince us to get it on that list.
This
like,
is
what about Ombak then?
Huh?
It's not on your. No, it has to be on your list.
I know, but I'm just saying.
That's not even a sports movie. Get out of here.
That's like me saying we could put The Raid in there.
Hitman. Martial arts.
It has to be within our list. So
fine.
To be honest, like the only other movie I'm okay with actually putting Major League. Well, actually,
wait, is Coach Carter on your list?
If we're gonna
put Coach Carter is because I think it's an okay movie. I don't think it's a great movie in terms of sports.
So I think we I think we should put either.
I'm actually, because I had this at like number 12 or 13, but I heard Jared's argument, and I'm okay if we bump it in. If Joe actually likes this movie, it's A League of Their Own. I actually
that's
do
exactly
agree.
That's exactly what
That's
I
a
was gonna
movie
say.
that
Historically, historical context. I think the absolute banger of a performance from Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, all that whole ensemble absolutely kills it. I think
the problem is I have not watched this film. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest.
But I think,
but if you guys want to do it, I'm not gonna like be like, fuck you guys or anything, you know.
I think that goes in at number 5.
Man, so here's the thing though, we gotta like standardize this thing. It's really weird, honestly, personally, to put a movie that's not in is League of Their Own in any of our top 10s?
Yeah.
It is.
It's in his
number
top
6.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I was gonna say if it's not neither, I'm like, why the fuck are we putting on the? But yeah,
No, yeah, I think that goes number 5. Moneyball is 4.
Moneyball's 4. Okay.
Rocky 4 is number 3. The Wrestler 2. Creed 1.
I think that yes, League of Their Own should be at 5, but I actually would argue at Moneyball at 3.
Yeah, Moneyball should be higher.
I absolutely enjoy.
That's
if I get League of Their Own at number 5, I'm happy with Moneyball at number 3.
I'm actually really happy with Creed being at number 1.
Yeah,
I absolutely. It's such a true
I
move,
knew that there was a chance he would choose that, Johnny, but I was like, dude.
Yeah, it's funny as we're doing these lists. It's like, oh crap, what does he have at number 1? Really, like he's moving all this way up. So,
I think that's
Joe,
I think that's a great list.
We've come up with collectively now our top 5 sports films of all time. So, Joe, what is that number 5?
Number 5, we got League of Their Own. Number 4, it's Rocky 4. Number 3, it's Moneyball. Number 2, it's Wrestler, one of the few times we agreed. And number 1, we got Creed.
This is a very solid list.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Very, very solid.
I think anyone who watches any 5 of these movies, you'll have a great time. And I think you won't regret watching any of these.
Except The Wrestler. Wrestler's a great movie. I don't know if you'll have a great time.
That's a hard rewatch, man.
The Wrestler is, if we were to rank from happiness and joy, I think this would be the one at the bottom.
We should fucking do like the saddest movies of all time. Just put like $1 Million Baby in that shit. You know what I mean? It's just sad.
I'm glad no one had $1 Million Baby as their top 10.
Sad. But look, you can't have everything be happy all the time.
I'm very happy that The Wrestler was on all of our lists. I was thinking it wasn't going to be.
Oh yeah, big time.
Man. Big night
also,
big night for the Sport of Kings.
Mickey Rourke, I feel like he kind of went off the deep end a little bit.
After that movie, it was his comeback was very short lived.
But he I'm guessing he did Iron Man after this though, right? It came out
he did.
Before? No,
he did it after.
It was after.
That's a little thing.
This movie is the reason why he did it, or he got
Iron
the chance
Man,
to do it. So yeah,
it's kind of out there.
All right, you guys. So thanks again for listening to us. This is when we have our plug. So Joe, where can they find us?
Every time we're on Facebook and Instagram, it's Film Lovers at Film Lovers GTTG. We'll try to put updates as best we can. Where if you want to leave any comments for us for any ideas in the future, we're more than open to getting ideas from our fans and to interact with you guys. So just hit us up on there.
You can follow me at JLuthy JLUTHY on Twitter. I just post about dumb bullshit on there, and drop me a line on there if you have a question. We'll read it on the air and answer it.
Send him nudes.
No, don't do that. I'm going to be looking for a teaching job soon, so don't do that.
Yeah, let's not do that. You guys can find me at JNO11 at JNGO11. If you guys like sports, me and my friend John, we do have a basketball podcast. It's Couchin Courtside. So it's COUCHIN Courtside if you guys want to take a listen. Thanks again for listening, you guys, and we'll see you guys next week.